At the crossroads of Europe and Asia, between the Black Sea and the towering Caucasus Mountains, lies the beautiful country of Georgia. It's the birthplace of wine and one of the oldest Christian nations in the world. A land where history, culture, and dramatic landscapes come together. With snow-capped mountain peaks, lush vineyards, and some incredible cuisine, if this place isn't on your bucket list, it definitely needs to be. Here's my action-packed 5-day guide that all starts in Tbilisi. The capital city of Georgia, Tbilisi, is a fusion of ancient and contemporary. You have monasteries, crumbling fortresses, coexisting with lively cafes, a buzzing nightlife, and a thriving art scene. The Bridge of Peace is one of Tbilisi's most eye-catching landmarks. This sleek steel and glass walkway was built to symbolize what it connects, the old with the new. You'll get some seriously cool views standing on this, and at night, there's even an LED light show. The Holy Trinity Church of Tbilisi is the largest Orthodox church in the world. It was built as a symbol of Georgia's spiritual revival after the fall of the Soviet Union, which had suppressed the freedom of religion expression. It's a statement and a tribute to Georgia's deep-rooted Christian heritage. And it's a pretty impressive building. We're going to go inside and see what it looks like. The interior showcases the beauty of Georgian Orthodox tradition, with hand-painted frescoes, sacred icons, and ornate details that continue a centuries-old artistic heritage. Georgia is known for its food and wine, and you can't come here without getting an Ananuri khachapuri and some khinkali. Founded in 1981 is this Gabriadze Marionette Theater. He himself is considered a national treasure here, and this 80-seat theater showcases as many puppet productions. Don't think Punch and Judy, nor Mr. Rogers. These are actual dramas set using marionette puppets. And right behind this is a pretty cool clock tower that also showcases some of his. So let's go check it out. Every hour, on the hour, at this clock tower, the golden angel will come out and ding the time. And at noon and 7, there's an actual puppet production that happens, so expect to see a much larger crowd at that time. Georgia has seen its share of foreign domination, from the Persian and Ottoman empires to the Soviet Union. Freedom Square marks that long fight for independence, and it's dominated by Freedom Monument, where you see St. George slaying the dragon. Today, it's a lively square. You've got fancy hotels, shopping, and you know it's made it when Fast and the Furious 9 was filmed right here, and you got Dunkin' Donuts around the corner. Officially known as the Church of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary, Metekhi Church is another iconic landmark perched on a hill overlooking the Kura River. Over the centuries, it's served many purposes: a royal residence, a theater, a prison, but today it's back to being just a church. Georgia, it's wine. So I've done another tasting at Karlovy, and I promise you I've totally butchered the name of that place. But we have done 7 wine tastings of the most delicious wine. One large shot of cha-cha and some delicious cheese. Definitely check this place out when in Tbilisi. Another great spot for some panoramic views of the city is the Mother of Georgia statue, erected in 1958 to commemorate Tbilisi's 1500th birthday. She stands at 20 meters high, in aluminum, holding a bowl of wine in one hand to welcome her guests and a sword in the other to greet her enemies. Overlooking the city, this monumental bronze and stone structure is the Chronicles of Georgia. There are 16 towering columns depicting the history of Georgia and stories from the Bible, bringing it back to its Christian roots. Up here, you also get some amazing panoramic views. This monument, often called Georgia's Stonehenge, was actually never completed, though you wouldn't know it by looking at it. The carvings on the columns are so large that it can be difficult to fully appreciate the intricate details from a distance. Be sure not to miss the beautiful views of the Tbilisi Sea from behind the monument. We've hiked to the top to get some great views of the Gabriadze monastery. This is a Georgian Orthodox complex, all carved into the rock face. There are rooms, chapels, churches, refectories, and the tomb of St. Gabriadze is also located at the side. But perhaps what's more inspiring and beautiful is the panoramic views of the Rainbow Mountains behind me. With their waves of color stretching across the horizon, the Rainbow Mountains are a striking display of Georgia's geological diversity. Their colorful layers of sediment create a landscape that feels almost otherworldly. Another monastery with some seriously great views is the Bodbe Monastery of St. Nino. St. Nino was a missionary in the 4th century that was pivotal in bringing Christianity to Georgia. The tomb of St. Nino is actually located inside the chapel. It's free to enter, but women need to make sure to cover their heads. Historically significant on the crossroads of the Great Silk Road is Sighnaghi, a town encircled by nearly 5 kilometers of stone fortification with 28 watchtowers and 6 gates. With its cobblestone streets, red tile roof, ornate balconies, and lots of wineries. It's a favorite for photographers, wine enthusiasts, and romantics. Known as the City of Love, With its 24/7 wedding registry, you could even get married at 3 a.m. Enjoying a little walk around the walls that encircle the city. Gonna go up on this turret and get some good views of the Alazani Valley. She's here making the traditional khachapuri, giving us a master class. We're just learning how they make the traditional bread here. You can see the side it's stuck to the walls. This is very, very fresh, but absolutely delicious. We stopped off to try some trichkela. These things, they're not candles. What they are walnuts dipped in grape juice. And this is a very traditional Georgian treat. Georgia has a winemaking tradition that goes back 8,000 years. So of course I had to come to the region where they make this wonderful wine. We've just done a sampling of several different flavors and have purchased the Muscovani, which is our favorite amber wine. Had a bit of cha-cha. Thankfully my head's still in place. And we are here at Grami Papa's Winery. Highly recommend to stop here. We've made some progress along the highway and we're stopped here at the Russian-Georgian Friendship Monument to symbolize the friendship between Russia and what is now Georgia. Maybe not so much friends anymore, but it's still a beautiful place to stop. Great views over the Devil's Valley. Known as the Gadari Panorama, this is one of the most dramatic viewpoints along the Georgian military highway. From here, the valley opens up to reveal sweeping views across the rugged mountain terrain, with the vast landscapes of the greater Caucasus stretching into the distance. We've made a quick lunch stop at Kazbegi here in Stepsminda, which is this mountain village, the last inhabited village before you get to Russia, and is also the gateway to Mount Kazbek and Gabriadze Holy Trinity Church, which you could just about see. Wonderful food, incredible views. Definitely recommend to stop here. One of the most photographed spots in all of Georgia is here at Gabriadze Trinity Church. Nestled at the foot of Mount Kazbek, which is one of the tallest peaks in all of the Caucasus. It's such an incredible setting. We're about 2,100 meters up. There's still snow on the ground. It's a little bit chilly, but it has been described as one of the most beautiful churches in the world.
The Ananuri fortress was the seat of the Gabriadze dynasty that protected this valley and controlled the trade routes between here and Russia. It's been the site of many battles, but it remained a stronghold for quite some time until it was eventually absorbed by the Russian Empire. This complex has 2 churches, a watchtower, and some residential buildings, and it's located by the Zin Valley Reservoir. It's just a great spot to come and learn a little bit about Georgian medieval history. This ancient rock-cut city is Uplistsikhe, and it's considered one of the oldest urban settlements in Georgia, with its earliest traces dating back to the Bronze Age. It is a bit of a hike up, so I'm a little bit out of breath, but I'm going to catch it and head up there.
Entire streets, halls, temples, wine cellars, storage rooms, and dwellings were carved directly into the rock. And there is even a secret tunnel connecting the cave city to the river below. The paths are generally easy to follow, but there are uneven surfaces, some steep steps, and exposed areas, so you'll definitely want some sturdy footwear.
And yet another wine tasting. For an extra 5 gel to your visit at Uplistsikhe, you can tack on a wine tasting at the end. Definitely do it. Known as the Monastery of the Cross, Khachapuri Monastery has been a pilgrimage site for centuries. According to tradition, it was here in the 4th century that the missionary Saint Nino erected a cross, and that act is believed to have been instrumental in converting what is now Georgia to Christianity.
Inside, you will see a large wooden cross standing on a stone pedestal in the center of the church. This marks the site where St. Nino erected one of the first Christian crosses in Georgia. For me, the highlight was the view outside, where you can see the confluence of the 2 rivers with Mtskheta visible in the valley. Gori is the home of Stalin, who is actually Georgian. It's a popular destination to learn more about him. A stop here includes a visit to the Stalin Museum, which showcases the house he grew up in, his personal train carriage, along with other interesting memorabilia. Our visit to the ancient capital of the Eastern Georgian kingdom, Mtskheta, was unfortunately cut short due to rain. So we didn't get time to wander the streets in the old town, shop along the old town square, or even take a walk along the riverbanks. Svetoslav Valley Cathedral is one of the most important religious and historical buildings in Georgia. In fact, it is the burial places of many Georgian monarchs. Tradition says it stands where Christ's robe was buried. A local woman is said to have died holding it and was buried with it. From her grave grew a cedar tree, which was used in the construction of the church. One of the wooden pillars made from this tree is said to have miraculous properties, giving the cathedral its name, Svetoslav Valley, meaning life-giving pillar.
My trip to Georgia has more than exceeded my expectations. The wine was fabulous, the food was delicious, and I absorbed so much of its history. We took 3-day trips, spent about 5 days in total in the country, which I thought was great, but I wish I had more time to stop and enjoy things a little bit longer. We did think about renting a car, and in hindsight, very glad we didn't, because some of the roads that we drove along were quite precarious. So organizing day trips with tour companies is probably more advisable. Please check out my other videos. I'll leave tips on everything in my blog, and as always, like and subscribe.